And then last, I put in this, I call it the Innovation Conference Center. Everything innovation, is that a little bit redundant? But we've been talking in this community forever about building a conference center. A conference center would be such a great asset to so many facets of our business community, be it the tourism and restaurant industry, all the way to all of our different industry clusters. Why? Because we want to have the capacity to bring thought leaders to our community, to have them understand what we're doing here, and we don't have that kind of facility right now. So the problem has been, and this relates to being connected, we've always talked about it, the tech community said, yeah, we need this, natural products, yeah, we need this. We need to all say it together as a unified business community to make it happen. And so I'll close with this and just say, close with the ending slide, and just say, essentially, if there was one message, that is, for my position as the chamber president, the goal is to bring together all of the different interests that we have that are trying to develop and build our innovation community. We've been too isolated. We need to work together, and we need to work constructively with our policy leaders, et cetera, to make it happen. So that's my goal as the chamber director.
Yeah, could I ask about the Da Vinci Center that's close to here?
Sure.
Thomas Fry, or Bray, however you pronounce that.
Yeah.
They've been very successful, I think, in a small area, doing a convention center like you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Do you accept that? Is that something that is a model?
Yeah, I mean, to be totally honest, I've heard folks from the Da Vinci Institute speak. I plan to reach out to them and engage them in this effort. Right now, I mean, I can just tell you, this conference center discussion, just like the fast tracks transit discussion, has gone on for years, and it's partly a struggle between the goals of the university that we need to get to join with us. They have a very sort of niche need around conferences associated with their academic mission. We have an interest from a business perspective, so we need to combine those and work together. But the Da Vinci Institute is one that I plan to be in connection with.
How do you narrow, because sort of like us, you have high tech, high growth, you have conference and tourism, you have natural foods. How do you, give the downtown business piece, how do you narrow where you're going to, from a city or from a chamber perspective, where you're going to focus your time and effort? Because sort of everybody wants their area.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is that if we can come together and prioritize, we can be much more effective at achieving things that help the whole business community. I mean, my joke is that Naturally Boulder is the organization, again, that represents our natural foods industry, which is booming. One of their chief concerns is genetically modified plants and products. And I'm just, I say to them, listen, I don't know that if every business community element wants to support that issue, but we can certainly work with you on this notion of building a conference center because they want to draw in national, conferences on natural products. So, it's just picking and choosing and prioritizing what we can work on together. We're much more effective when we do that and speak with one voice.
Kind of a related question. How many of the chamber members would you say are in full support of this innovation initiative? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of different kinds of businesses locally. And how many chamber members are there?
We have 1,700 chamber members. It's pretty astronomically huge. Does that mean that they're all bought into this? No. In fact, the honest truth is I was careful not to call this what ultimately it is an innovation plan. We're in the process right now of outreaching to all of our business partners to say, hey, give us input on what else we should be doing, and then ultimately we plan to roll it out as a vision that we have for the business community. So I will say, though, that it's amazingly positive response that we're getting, and I think primarily because so many of these industry associations are focused on their day-to-day membership needs and specific initiatives that they don't have the resources and energy to go after these bigger projects. So they would love to join forces and make those things happen. So not commitments yet, but moving forward. And I think we'll get it.
So we've been talking about a conference center in Santa Cruz for about 50 years.
I don't think it's been
What
that.
are the issues that are the sticking points on this thing? Where are people?
I'll say a couple, and I'll bet you Matt could add into this, but there's such a history here of false starts, and a lot of it comes down to, boy, you know, we would love to put it in this kind of a location, like right downtown, so there's some folks who want to do that. It's very hard to do it downtown, partly because not only do you need to build the conference center, but the history is in order for these things to be successful, you have to have a hotel connected to them. So we have a hotel down the end of, about a mile from here, the Millennium Hotel, and I don't know if you guys do? Okay. Well, if you see that hotel and you're in the lobby, tell them, you know, this would be a great conference center. And the challenge there, and so many have come to that conclusion, but the challenge is the ownership for that hotel is in Singapore. They have no interest in reinvesting in it. And so, you know, I've jokingly said, not really, we'll make them a nice offer, and then if they don't accept it, we'll build a brick wall around it, and we'll cut off their water and their power, and then go back to them and ask them. But I mean, that's the kind of place where you think, gosh, that would be such an obviously excellent place. And so the frustrations around where you locate it have led to the university saying, you know what, we're not going to deal with the community, we're going to go and find a place on our campus where we can do one, and then that will divide the resources and the need, and that would be unfortunate.
So he's more radical than I am. This is. John and I have known each other for a very long time, so I'm glad he said those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one does get wrapped up in the growth issues. That's part of it. There are people who just don't want to, and we're talking about a conference center, not a giant convention center, right? I mean, a much smaller deal. But it has over the many years been kind of tied up in the, we don't want any more of that, we don't want any more growth, we don't want any more jobs, frankly, because of the in-commute problem, just kind of make it all go away. That's part of it. Part of it is location. And finding a place for anything in Boulder is virtually impossible. Kind of the downside, if you will, of having a compact city is there's no place to put anything because there is no other side of the tracks. There is no less expensive location. And if you want it where you've got good transit and good mobility and good access, well, you're downtown or close to downtown. And certainly if you want it in a place that's got the Boulder cachet, because why would you come to a conference center that's out in a suburban office park? Well, you wouldn't. So it's got to be in a place that is going to attract people. Well, then there's really no place to put it. And if there were, it would cost such an insane amount of money that nobody could do it. There's the subsidy problem, because these things always require some sort of subsidy. And then there's the university problem. And yes, we would love to work with the university on this, and I'm not blaming them, but they do have a different set of needs. And everybody who's looked at it has said it is just difficult to build one that meets the needs of the community and the business sector as well as the university simultaneously. Because they would just build them differently, they'd schedule them differently, they'd be just some basic stuff, not political, just practical problems in doing it. Having said all of that, I agree with you.